Hi guys, Miss Powell here, and today we are covering surface area of rectangular prisms. Surface area of rectangular prisms. So let's go through the notes portion. Surface area is the total covering of the faces of a three-dimensional object. Rectangular prisms are made up of two rectangular, parallel, and congruent faces, which is basically your bases, and four lateral faces connecting the base. Okay. So since there's four sides of a rectangle, that's why you have four lateral faces. The height of a rectangular prism, or H, is the distance between the two bases. Surface area is always represented by units squared. You're going to have the little 2 up there. So remember, volume is cubed and surface area is squared. There are two different formulas for surface area. You can find the lateral surface area, which is just the four sides, and you're going to do that by multiplying your perimeter by the height. And then for your total surface area, you're going to multiply the perimeter times the height plus 2 big B. So now let's identify the parts of the formula. The P is the perimeter of the base. And for a rectangle, to find a perimeter, remember you basically do 2 lengths plus 2W. So 2 times L plus 2 times W is how you find a perimeter of a rectangle. Your H is the height of the prism. And this technically is the number that's not on your base. Also the distance from base to base. But it's the one number that's not on your base, and you'll understand this more as we go through some practice problems. And then your big B is the area of your base. The area of your base. And your base is always a rectangle. That's why it's called a rectangular prism. So the area of your base is a rectangle, and to find the area of a rectangle, you're going to do length times width. Okay. L times W, length times width. So basically the numbers that you use up here, your length and your width. So now let's go through a practice problem. We have two rectangles. First off, for number 1, your rectangular prisms always sit on their base. The bottom and the top is the base. So we have a base down here and a base down here. You have two bases. So the first thing I do is shade in my bases so I can identify what is connected to them. Now that I have shaded in my bases, it's easier to identify the numbers that are touching my base. Since I have my bases, I am going to take them out and recreate them so that I will know what numbers I am using. Across the top of my base is 13. This 13 is touching the purple, so that's why that's part of my base. Across the side of my base right here is 6. The 6 is next to the purple. That's my base. So I'm going to put that right there. Once I identify and label my base or take out my base, I'm going to cross those numbers out because the number that's left, remember I was saying the number that's not on your base is your height. The number that's left that I have not used, that is my height. So I'm going to go ahead and label that as my H. Okay. So now let's solve for lateral surface area. Remember, lateral surface area is perimeter times height. In order to find a perimeter, you add the four sides of your base. So your perimeter equals, we put the formula right here, 2 lengths. So 2 times 13 plus 2 widths, 2 times 6. In my calculator, I am going to put 2 times 13 plus 2 times 6, and I got 38. Okay, so for lateral surface area, again, it is perimeter times height. So my perimeter is 38 times my height, which is 14. 38 times 14 is 532 mm squared. 532 mm squared. Okay, so now let's find our total surface area. For total surface area, you need to know your perimeter, which we know, your height, which we know. The number 2 do not change, but we need to solve for our B, which is the area of the base. And in order to find the area of the base, you do length times width. So my big B, this is my length, this is my width, is 13 times 6. And 13 times 6 is 78. So now that I know my big B, my perimeter, my height, I'm going to go ahead and plug everything in. So perimeter, which is 38, times my height, which is 14, plus 2 times my big B, which is 78. And when I put all that in, 38 times 14 plus 2 times 78 is 688 mm squared. Okay, let's try it again. First thing I'm going to do is shade in my bases. The bottom, and the top. Now that I have identified my bases, I'm going to redraw them out here and label. The bottom of the red is 13. The side is 10. Now that I have used the 13 and a 10, I'm going to cross them out. And the number that's left over is going to be my H. I also know it's my H because it's the one number that's not touching any red. As you can see right here, it's nowhere near the bases. Remember, your height is the distance from one base to the other base. So from here to here, it's 20 inches long. So that's why that's my height. Okay, I'm going to start identifying all my different parts. So my P, I've already identified my H, and then my big B. So first off, to get my P, I am going to do 2L plus 2W. So 2 times 10 plus 2 times 13. Anytime you're finding your perimeter and your big B, those numbers should come from right here off your base, okay? So in my calculator, I am going to do it, and I'm going to show you using my calculator that's just on this computer. I'm going to type in 2 times 10 plus 2 times 13. Sorry, nope. 2 times 10 is 20. And then I'm going to do 2 times 13, which is 26. And then do 26 plus the 20, and that's 46. So my perimeter is 46. Again, I have my height over here. So now I'm going to go ahead and find my big B. So big B is length times width. Length times width. So 10 times 13, which is 130. So for my lateral surface area, I am doing perimeter times height. My perimeter is 46 times my height, which is 20. So 46 times 20 is 920. So 920 inches squared. And now to do my total surface area, which is P times H plus 2 times big B. So my perimeter is 46 times my height, which is 20, plus 2 times my big B, which is 130. And I'm going to put all of this in the calculator. So 46 times 20 plus 2 times 130. And I got 1180. So 1180 inches squared is my answer. Okay, so now let's go through the word problems. It says an artist is painting the outside of a box shown below. The top and bottom will not be painted. What is the surface area that the artist will be painting? So first off, let me determine if my top and bottom is not, which is my bases, if my bases are not being painted, then that means only the lateral parts. Because remember, this is your bases. So since my bases are not being painted, then only my lateral is being painted. So I need to use this formula right here. So what surface is being painted? Lateral. And then I will go ahead and solve for lateral, okay? Lateral is perimeter times height. So the first thing I'm gonna do is identify my basis, which is the bottom of this box, and then these top parts of the box. Okay, it's all open, so, but my square is technically right here. Those two parts are not being painted. So anywhere that's touching close to my blue, that's part of my base. So the bottom of my base is 2.5 and the side of my base is 2.5. And now that I've used those numbers, I can cross them out, which means that the number that's left over is my height. So now to find my perimeter, I'm going to do 2 lengths plus 2 widths. Put that in my calculator. So 2 times 2.5 plus 2 times 2.5, and I got 10. So my perimeter is 10. So perimeter is 10 times my height, which is 3, and 10 times 3 is 30 feet squared. Okay. Last question says Shannon is making a step stool for her bathroom. What is the total surface area of the step stool? It told you in the question what you need to solve for. So total is perimeter times height plus 2 times big B. Perimeter height plus 2 big B. I'm going to go ahead and identify my bases. One base, 2 bases. Recreate my base over here. The bottom of my base is just 12 because it's touching the blue, and the side is 9. Remember, we only identify 2 numbers because if this bottom is 12, this top is 12. If this right is 9, the left is 9. So that's why we only do 2 numbers. And the one number that's left over that I haven't touched, that's my height. Let me start identifying my different parts. My perimeter is 2 times my length, which is 12, because that comes off the base, plus 2 times my width, which is 9. In my calculator, I'm going to do 2 times 12 plus 2 times 9, and we got 42. So the perimeter is 42. My height is there. The last thing I need is my big B, which is length times width, so 12 times 9. And when I do 12 times 9, I'm going to get 108. So now I'm going to plug everything in over here. My perimeter is 42 times my height, which is 10, plus 2 times my big B, which is 108. I'm going to put that in my calculator. 42 times 10 plus 2 times 108. And I got 636. So 636 feet squared. All right, guys. So at this point, go ahead and put your notes up in your math folder, and let's log in and start working on the quizzes and then the assignment. Have a good day.